As you might have gathered from some of my recent videos, I'm always on the lookout for new and different things to try in terms of camera audio. So when Saramonic emailed me and said, "Do you want to check out our CaMixer for your camera?" I said, absolutely. And so, as you could see, here it is. This is the Saramonic CaMixer, however you want to pronounce it, mini preamp audio mixer kit, compact audio interface with phantom power and preamplifier, ideal for DSLR camera video production, or presumably mirrorless camera production, which is what I'm doing here. You can see loads of info here on the back, ideal for DSLRs and camcorders with a 3.5mm audio input, has two 3.5mm line and mic inputs with one mini XLR input, has two plug-in condenser microphones, built-in volume control, left and right volume meters, provides 48 volts of phantom power, and is powered by one 9-volt battery. I checked earlier, and luckily I have a box full of 9-volt batteries for some reason, so good stuff. You can see all of the specifications down here, lightly covered by the Saramonic sticker, 20 Hz to 20 kHz, input gains of 15 dB, level meter goes from -18 decibels to 3 decibels in 3 decibel increments, and inside of the box here, because I've actually already opened this and looked at it, you get a couple of audio cables, one that goes directly from the device into your camera, and one that has a splitter on it to go from the device into your camera, as well as presumably into a pair of headphones, or into the headphone jack or something. It showed it on the back of the manual and I have no idea what that's for, so I'll probably end up just using the other cable. You also get a mini XLR to full-size XLR cable, some warranty information, as well as, of course, the instruction manual, which, as I mentioned, shows what those cables are actually supposed to be for on the back, and has a full diagram of the device, as well as all the specifications and everything, and a quick start guide if you need it. And then here is the CaMixer itself. I'm going to keep calling it CaMixer, I don't really know. Here on the front, of course, you can see a little LCD panel, an on-off 48-volt switch. This powers the whole unit, as well as turning on phantom power. There's a monitoring switch here for playback and recording, a volume knob, a mini XLR jack here on the side, headphone jack, as well as the output on the other side. This is where you're going to put the output into your camera. A cold shoe mount here on the bottom, which actually unscrews. So you can technically just take this off and put this on a tripod if you're so inclined. And you have an additional cold shoe mount here on the top, so you don't actually lose your cold shoe whenever you put this on. And as I mentioned before, these are both removable condenser microphones, and they can both be spun around and put whatever angle you want them to be at. You could put them straight up and down if you wanted to, or pointed at whoever you want them to point at. And they have a little bit of flexibility to them. I don't know if that's by design or not. And they come with little built-in wind puffs that you could technically take off, mainly just to keep plosives at bay and whatnot. They're not actually going to reduce wind noise or anything. That is one unfortunate thing. This doesn't come with any sort of real wind protection, but you could come up with something, I'm sure, if you really needed it for these little microphones. When you turn the CaMixer on, you just flip the switch here and it turns from off to on. You can see the levels right here. I've gone ahead and installed a 9-volt battery. By the way, this door on the back here is where you put the 9-volt battery, and just put it right back in place. And I think without any further ado, let's go ahead and just put it on this camera. I'm filming with the A6300, currently using a very nice overhead condenser microphone, so this will be quite a significant difference, but then we'll see if we can plug XLR into this and see how it works compared to the Tascam DR60D I'm currently going through. And here we go. This is the first test using the CaMixer. I've got it sitting on top of the camera, just using the two condenser microphones that it comes with, plugged directly into the camera. So we're checking to see if there's any sort of interference on the cable, because I do have other things plugged in around this. And I can very clearly see when I stop talking, the level meters on the Saramonic, as well as the level meters on my camera monitor, both drop down to absolutely nothing, so it doesn't appear like there's a whole lot of noise to it. I currently have the camera level set to about 8 out of 30. I could take it down lower if I wanted to, but I have the volume on the Saramonic set to about 75%. And in terms of just where the levels are landing, that seems to be a pretty good place for this. Let's go ahead and switch back over to XLR though, going through the Saramonic instead of going through my Tascam. And now I've gone ahead and I've removed these two condenser microphones and just plugged directly from my overhead microphone. It's the Focusrite Scarlett CM25. Use the XLR cable that was included with it to plug into the XLR to mini XLR cable on the Saramonic. And the levels on the Saramonic look to be okay. It's just using the right channel because, again, it's a condenser mic. It's one mono microphone on the right channel. I turned on the 48-volt phantom power, and it looks like the cable that's coming from the Saramonic into the camera is converting it into stereo for me, because the levels in the camera are showing both channels going up and down appropriately. So it doesn't look like it's quite as high as it was when I was using these though. That's kind of confusing to me. I can always turn the volume up here in the Saramonic though, which will probably help a little bit. That's 100% though. That's as high as I can go on this. I can turn the camera up, of course, which would make it louder, but that looks to be high enough for the moment. And actually the volume knob goes a little higher than I thought it did. The really interesting thing though comes when I plug the condenser microphones back in and I have my XLR microphone plugged in. This should be a little bit confusing, but I've got all the microphones going now. I think they're all actually working at once. Yes, I just tapped on both the condenser mics and they both registered, which means that all three of the mics are currently working. I'll be curious to see how this audio sounds, but it's nice that there is this kind of flexibility to it. And a few minutes later, we're back. After taking a look at some of the footage that I captured using this, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. It's not the best thing that I've ever heard, but it's not all that bad. Currently, I'm just using the two condenser microphones and I'm a little bit closer to the camera, so hopefully it picks up a little bit better, a little less echoey. The really nice thing about this though is because it has those microphones included and because they are connected the way they are, you could technically flip them around. You could have one facing in either direction. I really like the flexibility that this thing offers. And the fact again that it comes with that built-in XLR adapter and 48 volts of phantom power. It's a relatively small thing to add on top of the camera that gives you a decent amount of functionality. Looks like it's available for about 130 bucks over on Amazon, probably the same in other places like B&H and Adorama, so I'll put links to a few of those places down below. Let me know what you think of the sound quality. Again, this is just using the microphones, everything that it comes with. The last few clips that I did before were using my overhead condenser microphone as well as these, just going back and forth, but I think the sound quality is not that bad. There's a little bit maybe of a background hiss or a hum that I heard whenever I was really listening closely for it using headphones, and maybe we'll stop here so you can hear. So let me know if you heard anything there. But otherwise, again, I'll put links down below. Leave a thumbs up if you like this video. Subscribe to the channel to get notified whenever I put out new videos, and actually hit the notification bell so you actually do get notified if you are interested in receiving those notifications. Notification Squad, I see you out there. And we will see you again next time. Bye, guys.